Hey guys, welcome to another brand new series of JavaScript. So I hope you all are doing well, and it's been a long time since I uploaded the last video, but now I'm back with this series which is pretty simple and basic but yet very important when it comes to web development. So JavaScript is the most popular language of 2020 and we will be learning that through this series. So if you are a beginner here, don't worry because we will be starting from the very basic. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Hey coders, this is Neha from WebStack. Welcome to the very first episode of this JavaScript series. So before getting started, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click on that big subscribe button and do hit that bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, now let's start by looking at what a browser actually needs. So whenever you look at any website on the browser, it's nothing but HTML and CSS. So HTML, as we have already studied, that it stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is responsible for all the structure of your website. So whatever content you are looking at, the button, the forms, everything is made by HTML. And the colors and the borders and stylings, whatever you see, is given by CSS, which actually stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So this is what all you need to make a basic website. But is that enough for your website? No, because it is a static one and we do not want static websites because everything today is dynamic. So here comes the role of JavaScript, that it provides interactivity with the user, and also, if I say literally, it provides life to your website. So whenever you click a button, for example, or you hover over an image and it zooms out, and whatever error messages you are getting, the pop-ups you are getting, everything is JavaScript. Now let's see what is actually JavaScript. So it is not anymore a client-based scripting language, which it was earlier, but now it has become a lot more than that. So gone are the days when we were using it for making the color change on clicking or displaying the pop-up boxes. Now it has many other features that makes it so powerful. So apart from working with client, it now also works with the server. For example, your Node.js. So JavaScript is also known as language of browser because it was earlier meant to be only for the client purposes, but now it's more like we can use it on the server, we can use it in desktop applications, mobile applications, and a lot more. And also we can call it as high level language, which actually means that we don't need to worry about how to manage the memory, how to allocate the spaces to the variables and everything. So that we need to do it in C or C++ languages. So we don't need to bother about that anymore in JavaScript, which makes it pretty simple to use. It is also known as interpreted language because we do not need to compile the code. It gets directly executed on the browser engine or on the server. So unlike in many other languages like C, C++ or Java, we need to compile the code first and then it gets executed. But talking about Java, I would make a point here that Java and JavaScript has nothing to do with each other. There is nothing common in both of them. It's more of like comparing a car with a carpet, which have a similar kind of words. So that doesn't mean they have a similarity. So it was just naming this JavaScript on the name of Java. So there is nothing common in that. They are mutually exclusive. JavaScript also provides dynamicity, or you can say it is a dynamic language because when you declare a variable, suppose I'm declaring a variable with a string type, and I can anytime assign an integer to that variable as well. So that is called dynamic. And also talking about variables, so the JavaScript is a loosely typed language which is really a plus factor because we do not need to define the type of the variables that we are using. So whatever value you assign to that variable, the type is automatically converted to that value. Also, a major feature for JavaScript is that it is a multi-paradigm language. So multi-paradigm means there is no restriction in writing the JavaScript. You can use it either in functional, you can use it as object-oriented JavaScript, or you can write a imperative code, or you can write a declarative code. So it gives you a freedom to write the code whatever way you want. Now let's check out some statistics about JavaScript. So if you open this Stack Overflow website, so you can check that out of all the programming languages, JavaScript is the most loved one. So this has been really popular throughout, you can say, 2019-20. So every platform nowadays, or every website, if I speak statistically, it is 94.5% of websites that are made from JavaScript. So if you talk about the major brands, that is Netflix, Walmart, PayPal, all of these brands are using JavaScript in their applications. So if you want to be a web developer, you should have a grasp on this JavaScript. Now let's check out few reasons why one should use JavaScript. So one of them is the faster user experience. So basically it provides the faster experience because we do not need to compile it. So it's pretty simple and it's pretty fast to use JavaScript. Also, it builds interactive websites and give them a sense of state. So state, to explain that, let me quote an example for you. So if you click a thumbs up button, that is below this video that you are watching. So if you give the thumbs up, then you can see that the color of that thumbs up is getting changed to blue. So when you are clicking that thumbs up, the state of the page is getting changed and it is not getting refreshed at any point of time. That is what makes it faster. So the states need to be maintained at the backend and the page needs to be getting updated. So I'll give you one more example. Let's consider a user is logged in. Profile picture will be displayed instead of login button. So that is a kind of example for state. So that is what JavaScripts come into picture, and it's pretty cool in that sense. Now also you can build the web applications using JavaScript frameworks, like the most popular one this time is React. So before learning React, you must be going through this course so that you have a basic idea of JavaScript syntaxes or fundamentals. Now, also it is helpful in developing desktop applications. You can consider it like your music player or a standalone desktop application which we can build with the help of Electron.js. So you can see that it is doing a lot more things than just a client-side scripting. Also, if I talk about mobile applications, we can use React Native for that purpose. So before going to all these frameworks, you need to study JavaScript from the very core. Now let's see, where does this JavaScript code actually runs on your browser? So you can check that in every browser we have an inbuilt JavaScript engine. So isn't that cool? We don't have to do anything. We don't need to set up the servers or anything. We already have an engine that will render my JavaScript code. Basically, there are different kinds of rendering engines, or you can say JavaScript engines, in different browsers. Like you can see that in the Chrome browser we have V8 engine for JavaScript rendering, and for Firefox we have SpiderMonkey. So there are different others as well, like Chakra also we are having for Edge. And if you know some more JavaScript engines for other browsers as well, just write it in the comment section below. So now the steps of execution, if I talk about how it renders your JavaScript code. So it first parses your script. That means it reads your script actually, then it converts it into your low level language, and then it executes the code actually. So this is a 3-step procedure which your rendering engine or JavaScript engine takes care of. So finally, let's see what you will get out of this course. So we will be setting up the development environment first. most, like we'll be setting up the code editors and the browsers and some of the extensions as well. And that is pretty cool to work with. So we will be doing that. And also we'll be writing the first program and see what are the different editors are there which will provide us JavaScript inbuilt, and your browser also contains an inbuilt JavaScript runner. So then we will be shifting to the basics and fundamentals like data types, variables, their scope, objects, arrays, and then we will be discussing about some inbuilt methods of array and string. And trust me, that are really useful. You should be knowing about the JavaScript functions because that is what we will be going to use in the frameworks as well. And also conditional statements, loops, and functions, like we will be doing arrow functions as well in JavaScript. And then we will be shifting towards DOM, that is document object model. So we will be seeing what DOM is, how we can manipulate it. So basically we will be taking the content from the form, we will be manipulating the buttons, the drop downs, the list, and the content, and then we will see how to take the user input, because this is very important, because every website is having a form in which you need to fill the data, and that data needs to get passed to your browser or to your database or something. So that is very important when user input is concerned. We will be seeing that in this series. And then we will talk about events, like various events are there in JavaScript, like on mouse out, mouse over events, like if you hover over a content, its color should change or its size should increase. So there are n number of events that we will be looking through. So I will try to cover every basic events that is required in JavaScript. And also coming to the advanced topics, that is form validations, and we will be seeing certain validations in forms, and also the regular expressions that we will be using to validate different fields, like we will be seeing password validation, email validation, and many more. Also, I will show you some tricks and tips with developer tools that we have in the browser, and we can use it to any extent for debugging or for testing or for checking the errors, and every sort of stuff can be done with dev tools. And trust me, this is really cool to use and it's very useful. So the last part of this JavaScript series will contain the timing functions, and that is also interesting, and also we will see some animation and effects. So this is pretty much all that we will be learning in this JavaScript series. So if you are having any particular topic in your mind that you want to learn, you can mention that in the comment section below. I'll try to make a video on that as well. All the advanced topics for JavaScript, object-oriented JavaScript or functional programming, for those I will be creating separate series. So let's get started with our first program. So I hope you liked this video, and if you liked it, hit that like button and do press the bell icon to get all the latest videos updates from me. So see you in the next video.